Well, hello, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to see you all, Mr. Brian, Mr. Matthew, Miss Julia. Where's Mr. J? Mr. J. All right, here's Mr. J. Good to see you. I love it. Hey, good to see you. Happy Memorial Day weekend, so to say. I think Memorial Day was really yesterday, but I have planes cruising up and down the beach ever since yesterday. I don't know why it's been 2 days this year, but it's, you know, it's I guess they think it's a good way to celebrate the vets in our country. So what can you do, really? Good to see you. Matthew, that is uncool news, I have to say. I kind of have a suspicion why that may have happened, but it's also this whole them not actually telling you why it's happened is a bit of a problem. So yeah, that I don't really agree with that. It is what it is. Sometimes this is what happens when you deal with these types of providers. So just for context, while I find my way back down here, Matthew has a channel called Rosie's Gym, and his intention is to upload little animations on their 3D animations, and in preparation for that he has monetized his channel. But it looks like maybe so monetization is difficult on YouTube if you don't organically grow. So what happens is that they want you to have 1,000 watch hours and or 4,000 watch hours in the last 30 days, and also 1,000 subscribers or more. And if you don't have that, they just don't give you monetization. See if I can get over there to that lever. And so Matthew uploaded other content, or had other content produced, that then led to monetization in preparation for his animation project. And for some reason, this is what they disagreed with. Is that what it was, Matthew, do you think? Tough to say, because they don't give you any real clues about this. 38 days if you leave it and fix the problem, but they don't tell you the problem. Oh, that is bad. So usually what this means is one of the videos is something that their community guidelines or their advertiser guidelines don't agree with. Usually you get, if you go to YouTube Studio, you should get like these little icons on the monetization tab that tell you green is monetized and everything's good, red or gray crossed out means it isn't monetized, can't be monetized, and then there's exclamation marks or some such that will tell you if there's a problem and how to remedy this, usually. So that is where I would look. With 270 videos, that might be, you know, might be a little bit much, but have a look if that is no issues at all. Oh, interesting. Interesting. That is bizarre. That is bizarre. The problem with smaller channels like us is that we have no way to reach out to anybody at YouTube and have a chat about this, and at least give us a clue, you know? If they don't do that, that's bad. Man, Matthew, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm sorry to hear that. So essentially you're out of that program now, unless you figure out what it is that has an issue. So here's what I would do. Yes, AdSense. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. Yes, it's the partner program. It's not YouTube, it's the partner program. That makes sense. So here's what I would do. Any video that doesn't clearly have a green monetization icon, anything that's red, anything that's orange, go delete it. Make a copy of it, re-upload it if necessary, but for now delete it, and that'll be indication enough that you have taken care of the problem. That is what I would do. That's what I would try. That's what I would try. I'm trying to reach this other gate here while we're kind of warming up before we, you know, before we get going with the good stuff and the Photoshop beta features and stuff. Hello, Mr. Chris. How's it going? Good to see you. I don't know how to get on the other side there. This is Submerged Hidden Depth, by the way. I've played that a while ago and finally got it working okay on my PC, but not with high settings, but with medium settings. That is kind of working okay, frame rate wise and all that. And it's a really nice, relaxing walk around, have a explore, collect stuff type game. Oh, here, maybe this is a way for me to go elsewhere now. I think I've explored that already. There's a kind of a book down there, but I don't know how to get there. It's pretty graphics, very pretty graphics. I don't think I can do this. I'm gonna go back to my brother who's manning the boat. If I can find him. I think is he over here? No, he's not. Is he over here? So no, that's right. Dang, he must be outside there. Chris, how's it going? Happy Memorial Day weekend. I'm thinking, I'm hatching plans to do another stream tomorrow because I skipped it yesterday because the planes were just a bit too much. So if you're not doing anything tomorrow, let's do stuff tomorrow. Oh, this looks like a puzzle. Yes, very relaxing game this. Non-violent, you just look at the pretty scenery, there's a bit of water here. I'm trying to get back to my boat and we can go and explore another part of this world. All made in Unreal Engine, by the way. Is this something that gets me down? Gets me down, perhaps? Does it? Yes! Elevator! Woohoo! Dang, and they're all green. Matthew, I'm really sorry to hear that. It's just so disturbing. I've heard other stories of people who have had literally their YouTube channel pulled and they don't know what that's about. You can't always try to reach out. There's a way to reach out to them on Twitter. I kind of forgot what the address was, but there's something like Team YouTube, and you can at least ask them, hey, what do I do now? I don't see the problem. If you tell me what to fix, I'm gladly going to do it. But there's no easy way to reach out to YouTube. There is a chat function, but not everybody has it. In YouTube Studio, top right, you can always have a look if you have that chat icon, and they can have an initial look. If you have it, that's a good way to reach out. If you don't have it, that's bad. But if you do have it, that's a good way to at least say, hey, I've got a problem. Can you help me out here? Yes, but the YouTube guys can tell you which video it is that AdSense have a problem with. At least that's how it used to work. Any frame rate issues? Dang, frame rate issues. I'm going to try and catch a couple of screenshots here from this game. I think this might be a good demo that we can use for these Photoshop beta features. Let's see how well Photoshop copes with that. I think we're just losing the sun here, so let's wait until the sun comes back up. So sometimes what I need to do is I have a screenshot and I need to get rid of some bits and pieces, like, you know, anything from icons to logos, and there's a new tool in Photoshop that makes that a breeze, that makes that really easy. But of course, you know, I was kind of hoping for better visuals here. And maybe we can go down here like south. And we get another boat part. South, maybe by that time the sun's back up. South, perfect. Oop, was that something I could have picked up? No. Dang. Okay, fine. I've missed my chance. I've missed my chance. How have you all been? What have you been up to yesterday? Yeah, those frame rate issues, that shouldn't really happen. On medium, on a PC like mine. I enjoyed the first game actually. This was from 2015. This one here came out I think last year or 2021. And it's the same team of people that's been working on it. Hello Camilla, how's it going? See if we can find that next boat part here in the middle of the night. The boat parts, when you upgrade the boat, you can drive faster. That is kind of nice. I've just learned how to make things like the boat here move with the water surface. So this is independent of the water splashy effects here. But yeah, very nice. If you have that, if you have an object on a surface that kind of moves with the surface, that's not easy to do. but the Unreal Engine 5 integrated free water plugin has functionality for that. That's interesting. It didn't work perfectly for me. Maybe I need to practice a little bit more, but it's kind of nice to see how that works. Boat upgrade. These are kind of the blue little propeller icons here. The gray ones I've collected already. I may have missed it. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I've missed it already. This here, that is, I could fast travel there, but it's kind of, let me go north. Halfway up north. See if I can get it. Drift out. That's totally cool. Drift out. We're all very tired. I thought, you know, a nice relaxing catch up with your stream and see how you're doing. Hey Sakar, how's it going? Tim, how's it going? Nancy's art, good to see you all. Tim, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. No problem at all. How to make close folds in 4DAS Studio. If it's relatively difficult. If you want to make it automatic, you're probably looking at a cloth draping engine like Marvelous Designer. That's probably a good bet. If that isn't working for you, I would suggest you sculpt these things in. Folds. Blender has a really nice brush that can do that. ZBrush also has a good brush for that. If you needed a special fold in a particular static pose, then sculpting is probably the way to go. If it's something more complicated, then you'd have to drape it. And Marvelous Designer is a really good draping engine. D-Force, to a certain extent, will be able to help if it's a D-Force garment. Okay, East, come on, we can do this, While we wait for the sun to come up. And then we're going to have a look at the Photoshop beta features. I didn't even know you could download a Photoshop beta version in addition to the normal Photoshop version. I really didn't know. It took me a while to figure that out. In the release version, there's a new tool that's called the Remove tool that I've just tried using, and that is really nice. I've got to say, that is really cool. Oh, hello. Nice. Very cool. Very pretty visuals. Humpback whale. Brian, and I've watched your video about getting Waja into Character Creator. That was exciting. That was good to see. And I think you nailed that very well, that format. It was as condensed as the whole process possibly could have been, but skipping some of the longer things where you just have to wait for the computer. I think you did that really well, and it was very entertaining to watch. So I thought that was nice. So yeah, I can imagine it did well for you, that video. But also, as somebody who makes videos, I know how much work there is involved in regards to post-production. So so it should be just kind of underneath here where we are. Will that be it here? This is it here. Oh, sweet. The Lost Tales! How exciting! Thank you so much for the super chat donation. I really appreciate that. I'm quite the lurker on your channel. Ooh, I appreciate that. Lurkers always welcome. Lurkers, watchers, chatters, commenters, non-commenters, all good. But I wanted you to know that your tutorials for DAS are incredible and have helped me immensely. Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for your hard work. I've learned so much from you. I really appreciate that. That is so nice of you to say. It really makes me keep going. It's nice of you to say. I can't. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. $10. I will invest that into coffee. I promise. Very, very cool. So let's see. Can we dock here somewhere? Dock, 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 and no docking. Dang. But we're getting good light, so this is good for screenshots here. Need to imagine. Ah, there we go. Perfect. So this is our main character here, the little girl, and this is her brother. We know them from the first game. Let me see if I can take some screenshots here. This is the epic version, so I don't have the finesse of the Steam version where I just take a screenshot from the controller. There we go. I'll go and leave this running in the background, and I will go and if I can do that, I'm going to go and open the beta version of Photoshop here. This one. This is the release version that I've got, but this is the beta version. Let me go and see if I can run that side by side, and then I'll see if I can remove some of the logos here. So this Photoshop version has a different starting screen, and Chuck Geschke apparently has died. Dedicated to a brilliant and amazing Adobe founder, Chuck Geschke died April 16th, 2021, last year. 2 years ago, my goodness. And I'll show you more of these things as we get going here. These are two projects that I've made here. This is the thumbnail, and we'll get into these types of things a little bit later. So this is something that I've made entirely inside Photoshop with their new edition of Firefly, which is currently in beta. So each of these elements here is something where you basically just draw a circle, and then you describe with generative fill what you'd want to have in there. So I just go and drag this around, and then I'll say make this some hot air balloons, and I'll say here make this a spider, and then a bit like in Midjourney, you get the option of multiple images that you can go and pop in there, and then take it from there. And then likewise the other one that I've made here, this is a beach scene. Same thing, so you can flood fill, or you can select the whole canvas and then say generate me a beach at sunset, and then you just drag around here and say put a moon there, and put a cruise ship there, and put some seagulls there. And it's crazy how well this works. So it's a bit like having really fine control over something with Midjourney. So I'm going to go and just create a new image here and paste in the screenshot that I've made here. And just before we get to this, I'm going to go and make a duplicate of that layer. Also unlock the background. We don't need the background anymore. The duplicate is just so in case I screw something up, I've got something that I can go back to. So one of the new things that Photoshop has is in the release version as well, and that is here on this brush icon. And this currently it's the spot healing brush, but if you left click and hold that down, then you get this this menu here. And many of these things have been here before, like the spot healing brush, the healing brush tool, the patch tool, the content aware move tool, and the red eye tool. But the new thing is the remove tool, and that's in the release version already. So if you click that, then you can go and draw something out, like say if I wanted to get rid of this status bar here, I can go and left click and drag over that. We'll see if it works, and then I let go, and Photoshop should fill this in with something it reckons looks pretty close to the background, and it works incredibly well. So this is basically like one of the previous tools here, remove tool, the spot healing and the healing brush tools. They worked like that, but they always had some kind of artifact there, and I think the remove tool is just so cool. Like this here is a great example of something that if this was my screenshot that I needed, I might not want that tree in there. So I can go and just, whoops, that's not what I meant, sorry, Photoshop. No, dude, no, don't do that. Spacebar, there we go. Tree, go get rid of the tree. There, tree gone. And it's quite amazing. So it kind of samples whatever's on the background. It's just crazy cool the way that works. So like these interface icons here, same thing. If you don't want to see those, it's best if you don't do them all at once. If you just go and say this, yeah, I don't want that in there. I mean, it's like, how did you do that, Photoshop? What did you do in order for that to work that well? I have no idea. You can, oh, there we go. That's a little, gotta do that one again. People and stuff completely goes away with that. So this here, that might be a bit of a problem. I might go do this in two parts. This one first, and then that. I mean, for there's a tiny bit of an issue still here, but it's so small. I really wouldn't even sweat it. There we go. Now it's gone. It's crazy, isn't it? How you can make that happen. So it's really cool. I really enjoy that. Let's see if we can get rid of our character here. That might be a bit much. So slight. Got to be a little bit careful with that. So maybe just the rocks here. That's quite nice. Rocks. Perfectly filled in that background. It's crazy, isn't it? And also the kind of the speed at which it does it. So I don't know, the character here, that might be problematic because we've got this part of the foreground here, and then we have the water, and we have this part of the background. So I might just try to do this in 3 parts. If I'm saying, hey, this, see if it recognizes. So this might go wrong. This is a bit mean to do that. Yeah, that looks crazy. It's trying its best here. But I think this might just be very difficult for it to do that. Yeah, it's trying its best. I don't think that's fair of me to ask it that. But something that in which it's very clear what can and cannot work is that's impressive, isn't it? Let me see if I can grab another screenshot of something else. Maybe if we go back on the boat. I did this with a Redfall screenshot the other day that I got off the internet, just as a test, if I can see if there is, if I can just get rid of some, like the main character that was in there. And like if I try to do this, not that it's an amazing screenshot, but if we do something like this, and see if we can get rid of the boat. Let's try that. Deviant, how's it going, buddy? Good to see you, good to see you. That. Ding, perfect. See if that works. Also quite nice to have those waves in the background. Deviant, I'm playing around with the new features in Photoshop. There is, there we go. No, not that. This. So this is our first test. I'm gonna go paste that in. Yeah, look, this is what we've done. This is the original with all kinds of icons in the picture, and we've literally just casually removed them with Photoshop, and you can barely tell that anything's happened. So the background has been filled in really well, and they're not great images. They're not really forgiving, I have to say. So let's see if we can do that with this as well. So make a duplicate of that, just so that we have something to go back to. And I think we started with the strap at the top, so this is a bit more difficult now because we have a kind of a tower in the background. Let me see what it does with that. Strap that out. There. Let's see. And it's slightly wonky, but it's put in what it thought was a good idea. So for a screenshot, that's actually not so bad. Maybe this at the top here, there's some white bits there. Perfect. Let's do that. Very cool. And that's just the remove tool. That's something that's new in the latest version of Photoshop. But in a moment, I'll show you something that is just even more impressive. Remove tool, just in case you're wondering, you found that on here, on this, where it used to be the healing brush. And I think we can, the patch tool is kind of a manual approach on that. So patch tool, we already had that. Patch tool works by selecting an area that you want to replace with something else. So this is also very convenient. Now you can just go and left click and drag that over and choose the part of the image that you want to replace it with. So this tool has been around for a few years, and if you do that with something neighboring like this, it does a pretty good job at blending it in. But if your color doesn't quite match, if you had something like this, if that's the only thing that you have, you can just select it, and then Photoshop will try its best to match the color. But you can still see that, I mean, it blends in the edges, but it doesn't do a super awesome job. But it has its uses. So if you have something on smaller patches, where you can just go and do that. So I've been using that for a while, and it's, if you do it cleverly, it kind of does the trick, does it well. But if we go and change this with the remove tool, I think the healing brush, there's a spot healing brush tool, I think that's another one that kind of works. It's the precursor, I think, of the remove tool that we have, and it's basically, this was version 1, and it also works, but if you look closely, you can still see some artifacts in there. Maybe not so much here on the water, but when I've tried it, it was okay, but it didn't always work. But the remove tool, that seems to be like OMG. You just go. I like that this different color here, and it goes. Thinks about it for a second, so I think it just goes and looks at the surrounding areas and puts a little splash in there. I don't know if I like the splash, so I'll get rid of that splash as well. Perfect. So now I don't even see artifacts. So I've got to say, very impressed by that. Very impressed by that. But the best, so we already know about the icons here. Icons are easy-ish, depending on the background. But the boat, I'm looking forward to it removing the whole boat in the middle and seeing if that's kind of cool. Whoops, there we go. It just makes my job so much faster. If there is a thing I need and like a stock image and it's almost there, and I'm thinking, yeah, I wish it didn't have that. Let's see if we can do this here with the whole boat. So let me try to isolate the motor thing here first. Maybe like this. We just take it bit by bit. That's done that. Perhaps we don't want this part of the image. Not bad, I have to say. Indeed deviant, and we're totally going to try that in a second because that is just really cool. Let's see if I can get rid of the guy here. Pretty cool. I mean, he's no longer in the boat. So how about his companion? I think that the key to this tool being really successful is that you have to do it in kind of in stages. Let me see if I can just do the whole boat now. And anything that might belong to the boat, like shadows and all that, you might find it easier to do the shadow in a second pass. I mean, we don't have a shadow here, but if you had a character standing on the ground, something like that. Okay, this is tricky and hard work. See how Photoshop deals with this. That's insane. That is this is one pass. That is pretty insane. I mean, you really have to look for the artifacts. You see some of the water splashes that the boat left here, but that is all. So we literally did all that. Wow. From the same source image, if you didn't know. Wow, pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yes, I think this is something that Photoshop or that Adobe was saying, that the images that they're using for their Firefly, they're apparently ethically sourced rather than scraped from unsuspecting uploaders. So that's good to know. Interesting. You could literally go to town and do more stuff now. Let's get rid of this whole building perhaps in the background. Replace that with, I don't know, nothing? Maybe just the background? Would it be clever enough to know that? Yes! It's just gone! This is so cool! So if you had nothing other than this and you wanted to isolate just the water, that is just... Whoa. Whoa, man. That is pretty insane. That is pretty insane. It's now the meme machine, yes. Yes, absolutely, Brian. I totally agree. Man, that is very cool. I don't know if do we have... There may be some images here on... I think this is how I did it on Redfall. Redfall Media. This is how I sometimes do my thumbnails. If I'm playing a game and I want to make like 10 thumbnails of it, then there might be somewhere a media section. Media, there we go. View media, alright. And they're usually very high resolution things for any sort of video game official and wallpaper, there we go. And it's great if you have to isolate a logo or whatnot. Yes, I tried it with this image and got rid of this character completely, and it worked incredibly well. Can we just copy that? Pop it into Photoshop. This is 4K, this is quite nice. Boom, perfect. So I like taking a copy and then just getting rid of the background because we don't need that. And then on this layer, yes, like this, I did this for the video demo there. It's the first test I've done with this tool and it just worked unbelievably well. So you just go kaplonk. And I thought, let's go do this separately, the figure and the shadow. It might be a good idea to try this together. But I thought, hey, this is a complicated background. We've got the two types of colors. We've got some leaves on the floor. And it just filled in everything as if the character was never there. It's quite crazy. I mean, if you look at them side by side, you can kind of see these are still the legs here, but it really blended in all the detail incredibly well. Shadow also, let's go get rid of that. That's just magic. If you didn't know there was a person there. Unbelievable. What happens to the bike? Can we get rid of the bike? Can Photoshop do that? I guess it can. What bike? You never had a bike. What? Very, very cool. Mr. Yoshi, how's it going? Very cool. So no bike, no bystander. That's very cool. Let's try one more. Let's try one more. See if there's anything else that would kind of lend itself to getting rid of. Yeah, this would be great if we didn't want people on the sidewalk here. Let's try that. Copy image. I'll just go put that on here because it's the same image dimensions. Before we go and have a look at the generative abilities of this bad boy here. So here we have the figure and the shadow, so I might go and try her first. Figure gone. That's cool. This looks a little bit featureless, so I wonder if we can just go and put some of the... Yes, we can! Look at that! That is very cool. I mean, this is... I don't know if this has happened as a result of me removing the character, but if this is featureless, that is just so cool. We just go... blend in some of this. So I don't know what Photoshop actually looks at. It must look at the surrounding areas and understands, well, this is the kind of pattern that would be here, and just goes fills it in. Is that amazing or what? J deletes. I love it. That is a good channel. I can see it now. Good luck, Yoshi. Let us know when you've got that running. See, we get rid of him. My God, that's crazy. I mean, this is a particularly difficult area. Look at the pattern. It's filled out the pattern. What? It's basically what? That is crazy. I think we're playing the right music for that in the background as well. Let's get rid of his shadow there. This is too much fun. This is great. Okay, your shadow. Budget cuts. You see, I'm careful. Maybe I shouldn't be careful. And I just tell Photoshop here I'm the uncareful guy. Yeah, that works better. If you're not careful, that actually works better than when you're careful. That's insane. Including guessing and perhaps over-guessing the color of this strip here. That's just so cool. So if we just make that better. Yes! It's... my God! This is crazy. I love it. That is so cool. Yeah, so J deletes. I think so too. That's gonna be great. Great new channel. Jay deletes random stuff from random pictures. I like it. So I'm careful again here. Maybe I shouldn't be. Let me be uncareful. That whole umbrella, can that be? And I was going to say, I wouldn't be surprised if this wasn't going to work, but it did. A few touch-ups here and there. Very nice. This you can just, if this is too purple, it's fine. We just go and, you know, it's just a couple of brush strokes. Rod's going to love it. Oops, sorry. I've enhanced the pattern here accidentally. I didn't mean to do that. That is, oh man, make your pictures better with a single click. That is crazy. Yes, Jay deletes. I can see it now. Jay deletes cars and stuff from screenshots and all kinds of things. This used to be a big job for people. I mean, you know, this obviously sometimes mileage may vary. But yeah, ArcViz things used to be tidied up like this. If you had, you know, stock photography as well, stock shots, they used to be tidied up like this. If you have, you know, you go to Italy and you take a picture of the Colosseum and there's like 20 tourists and trash and stuff, and you want to tidy that all up. This is a big job here. So where the color values are a little awkward here, this is difficult. But hey, there aren't any people for you to shoot, huh? Before and after. My God, and look what a difference it makes, the whole image composition. It just tidies the whole thing up. Isn't that crazy? My God. It's, yes, indeed, Camilla. This is where the healing brush and the spot healing brush works. So this is the remove tool. That is new in the latest release version of Photoshop. Yes, the remove tool. It's basically like spot healing brush. It's just, you know, better. It can do more stuff now. Kind of between that and the patch tool. So it's greatly improved. So very cool. I'm impressed. I'm very impressed. I might keep these things around. Might upload them later. I'll go and save them. Maybe here. This was like Jay deletes. I think that was a good title. Yeah, Jay deletes. So let's go and see what the... And this as well. I think this is also Jay deletes, Jay tidies, maybe. Jay tidies up screenshots from Submerged. There we go. That's a good title for that. I'll come back to that. So these things here I've made entirely from scratch with a kind of a mid-journey approach, and that is something that's currently in the beta version of Photoshop. And in case you didn't know where to look for that, like I did, you do that, so they install themselves side by side, so beta version and the release version. I think you can only start one at a time, but you do that in the Creative Clouds app. So if you want to give that a spin, I think everyone has access to it. You just need to, you know, click a few buttons to install that. Let's just wait until it boots up. And then on the left-hand side here, if ever it, you know, finishes, we have a beta section, and that's where you can install beta versions here, beta apps here with the little beaker icon. Under all apps, these are the things that you've got installed, and then the things that you can install if you like. But if you have a look at the bottom here in the sidebar under categories, there's beta apps, and then this is where you can install any of these things. Like Premiere has betas, and they have betas for everything. And just give it a spin if you feel up for it. And this is where that feature is in. So the latest version of Photoshop has introduced this bar here, and they tell you about it, and it kind of makes it a little bit easier. It's a bit like what we have in Sketchbook just now in Photoshop. And as you can see from the layers palette here, all these things are individual pieces aside from the color correction that I've applied afterwards. So I just made it crisp and added a bit of a vignette there. But yeah, these things, they're all drawn in and then generated some stuff, and the background is also basically something like that. So this is how it started here with nothing, and then I added I think a road in the outback, desert outback. If you click here, you can still see the prompt I've used for that. So describe what you'd like to see. Where was I again? Not properties. Yeah, where was it? patterns, gradients, swatches. Where was it? I thought it remembers the prompts. I guess it doesn't. Maybe it's still thinking about it. Dude. Generative layer. Yeah, I thought it remembered. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't remember it. But this is something along those lines that I would have typed in, like a road in the desert, and then I marked the top part here and said, put in a fluffy sky, and it did something really clever here. It just goes and extended this and added that to my clouds layer, which is just awesome. And then I circled the road and said, put some traffic on here. It didn't do a good job at that, so I went and scaled that up a little bit, I think. Yeah, I think this is my upscaling, and this is what it did originally. So it's almost believable, but it also took some of the pattern of the road away here. So it is a beta feature. And then I thought a giant spider might be cool. And then I think this was a salamander. It didn't quite work out. And then this was the balloons here. Yeah, and then the same thing here with the beach scene. So this is how this would have started is. This. So this is its original thing, and then I said, let's put a lighthouse in there. And I thought it was kind of cool how it did this, so that the lighthouse even has splashes around it, and then goes and blends that in with the water that I already have. That's that crazy? That is just so cool. And then same thing, like I put a person into the water here, and then that is a cruise liner. And you have, by default, I think you have 3 options to do that. Giant sea turtle, many of which do not look good at the moment. Some seagulls and another balloon. They like to make them flat and squashed. Oh yeah, and then I moved it actually because that was a little bit too far on the edge. But the way it does this is that it goes and creates this little island around it, and if you want to move it, then that island isn't going to fit in, so you have to go and mask this off manually. So that's what I've done here. So I've just cut out the balloon, and then the same with the moon. I thought the moon looked great, but I wanted it to be a little bit larger, so I just cut it out and made it larger. Now I can go and move it around to wherever I think the moon should be. Isn't that cool? Let's go and do this actually. Let's go and do this from scratch with a brand new image. Perhaps, why don't we use 4K? Let's use 1920 by 1080 just for now. And then we'll see what we'll do afterwards. So, any suggestions what we should start with? I'm going to go and use the whole image here. I'm going to mark everything. And under Generative Fill, this is where we start typing, essentially like in Midjourney. The hot air balloons look like Albuquerque. True. So maybe we'll do something in Tasmania. How about a road going off into the distance in Tasmania? Dusk. How about that? Let's see what happens. See what he does. It could be pants. It could be something that doesn't look good, but let's try it out. Come on. It's difficult, isn't it? It's takes a lot of thinking power. Ooh, okay, that isn't bad. What do you think, Deviant? Is that close to what it looks like at dusk? Then here at the bottom, you've got these options here, so you can go and click forward, and then it goes and gives you the second option, and here's your third option. So you got 3 options by default, but you can then go and upvote and downvote those if you say, hey, this is well done, or hey, this wasn't done so well. So I think maybe the second version here, the road, it didn't really do that so well. So we can go and thumb this down to let Adobe know, hey, you need to work on this, and you can go and tell them more if you like. I don't think I'll do that. But apart from the road, the rest of the picture looks kind of cool. So we can go and start with this. This maybe, I don't know. That also isn't greatly done, but again, this is something you can just do with a remove tool or change up a little bit. it's a good starting point. If you wanted other options, you can just go click generate again, and then it goes and thinks again, and then you get 3 other options, and then you can pick between those. So you've seen that last week. I love it. That's good. Let's see what the next 3 iterate. Oh, this is nice. This is very nice. So now we have like a double yellow line, but I do like the curve here. It's a little tiny bit wonky here in the distance, but you know, it's kind of, ooh, yes. I think I'm loving that. Let's go thumb that up. That's well done. Thanks. And then this, yeah, I don't know. This one's spectacular. That is just very, very cool. I do like that. I don't need this layer anymore. I'll go and get rid of that. So very cool. You can see the prompt up here still. So that's kind of nice under properties. And variations, we don't have variations. That's cool. Hey, this is awesome. So now you can go and take your lasso tool and put something funky in the sky, or maybe at the bottom here. Don't know. Maybe we'll put a bunch of hitchhikers down here, or maybe they should be. They could be all here. Is that something where we could place 2 hitchhikers with luggage? Let's see if it works. Yes, double yellow means no passing either side. That's true. See if it works. I mean, this could go wrong. But no, it's not bad actually. I have to say, they do look a tiny bit creepy and featureless. I have to say, but they're hitchhikers. That looks terrible. We gotta let Adobe know about this. Also, perhaps not. But let's have another go. So I understand it's difficult, but I've seen demos where they had basically like a back alley, and it looked like a tube station, and you had walls left and right, and you literally just circle this bit in, and you say put a sign on the wall, and it literally goes and mounts it on the wall, and it looks really, really cool. So I'm not sure about the hitchhikers. I'm just not sure. Perhaps we might not. Actually, I mean, for an illustration, now that we're not looking too far, maybe it'll work. Could we, let me see if we can put, with the polyline tool here, polygonal lasso tool, I'm going to go and describe the road to Photoshop like this here. I'll see if we can put something. Oh no, actually we needed to have it much larger. If we wanted to have a truck or something in there, I think we need to have it, because we got to think 3D. It's not so much. I'm thinking 2D. This is where the truck would be on, but literally the truck would be rather high. So I think maybe I'm gonna have to go and do this again. So just roughly from here to there, and then this could literally be the truck. Close that one. No, totally didn't close that. There. Red truck with containers facing the camera, just so that we know, that's maybe the thing that might pick up our 2 hitchhikers. A semi, yes, I should have said a semi, or a ute. Since we are obviously in Australia, we should have called it a ute. A woman, not bad. I mean, look at that. It's not quite in the center of the road, but that we can, we can take care of that. Not bad. What other trucks do we have? Yep, not bad at all. Oops, that was 1, 2. Yes. Now that is it's like a convoy, isn't it? Very cool. Ute as in, no, it's UTE, like as in utility vehicle. It's what Americans would call a pickup truck. And I don't know if we have these cars in Europe, actually. Convoy, exactly, yes. Convoy. And because it's Memorial Day weekend, let's put maybe some airplanes into the sky here, maybe. a cargo plane facing right. I'm not sure. I don't think it does. But maybe because I've mentioned Australia. I mean, we know what ChatGPT is like. I mean, this is not based on ChatGPT, but it's just, no, it's not bad. Perhaps less stylized. If this were a 3D object, I could just go and turn it down a little bit. I'm not sure about the planes here. No, but we know what it's like, isn't it? You give it one prompt and then you say, considering the above, now do something else, and then we'll put it into context of what you've just described. So I wonder if I'd say Ute, having just described Tasmania, it might know what I mean. Better, but still is a not so good. But I can blend this in, so it's quite nice. If I wanted to cut this out, let's just as an example here. If I go and just move the whole layer, that's going to be a problem because it makes that little island around it come with me, so that isn't going to work. If I wanted to move the plane, I can go and duplicate that layer. I'll just go and make the one below it invisible, and then I'll use the Photoshop object selection tool, which is also extremely amazing, and I can go and just go click on that object. Oh my god, it's done that. Usually if it's a little bit trickier, you can just go and left click and drag around it, and then it'll work out what you probably want to select. And then on here, I should have actually done something else. I should have deselected it. This mask here, we need to go and get rid of first of all. So let's go get rid of the mask and then go use the object selection tool. It's so cool. Then we're going to create our new mask, our own mask. And now I can see that the plane is now fully isolated, and you can mess with the mask if you want to do that. Now we can go and put the plane somewhere else, like, you know, maybe crash landing it onto the truck or making it smaller, something like that. So it's just, what I love is that all these tools are inside Photoshop. That's just insanely cool. So yeah, wombat on the side of a road. I think that is you know, a family of wombats. How about that here? A family, oops. A family of wombats. Oh, wow. That is good to know. So they do get it right, huh? That is very cool. That is very cool. Ay, caramba! Where's the color in the wombat? Also, the family of wombats. Maybe we need to have all three of them. Maybe I need to say 3 small wombat kids. Let's see if it now puts. It's not a wombat. Is it gonna come up with kids now? Maybe Yoshi. Those are not wombats. We're gonna go thump this down. I mean, you know, let's help Adobe out here. That's not a wombat. I understand a wombat is a difficult thing. Let's forget the wombats. What else could be on the side of the road? A giant spider. That is always a good idea. A giant black spider. It's probably gonna get that done. A kangaroo, yes, let's do that. I don't know where it gets the style from. I mean, perhaps I should have said spider photorealistic, because the truck is also a bit stylized, as is the plane. So I don't know if it takes that into consideration. They do, don't they? I think maybe that's part of the beta version. Nope, that's the same spider we've already had. Nope. No. Okay, forget the spider idea. Let's go, in fact, remove that layer altogether. I wanna start again here. Also, guys, have a think of what other stuff we might want to do with other pictures, you know. I'm gonna go and try. This is maybe where we can have How do you even spell that? Guru. There we go. Let's see if it works. Mechanical wombat spider. A rat kangaroo. Oh, I didn't know they existed. Oh, there we go. That's interesting. Yeah, no, I don't think so. It's gone into all of the stylized version on me here. Maybe we're tricking it. Maybe we should stick to something like architectural elements. Maybe it's not hot on characters. Poor little guy. Okay, fine. We're gonna be fine with him. And then last but not least, of course, to really drive it home, let's put a color correction layer on this here. Brightness and contrast, maybe add contrast. I mean, I'm not sure about adding these things. See what it looks like with a vignette on it so that we can sell it to art galleries. Because, you know, that's obviously where it's gonna end up with, no matter what. So this high quality artwork that we're creating here, this is gonna be all over Sotheby's. I can tell you. Gaussian blur sounds good. Yeah, so now maybe we do that. And then we have that. That just looks a little nicer. Hey, sweet! This is, you know, classic artwork number 1 done. NFT it immediately. Yoshi, good question. I wouldn't count on it. I don't know what the licensing agreements are. Let's try 4K next. See what the 4K resolution looks like here. I have a feeling I'm not. Yeah, I wouldn't count on it. I don't know how any of the licensing agreements work. Maybe you probably have to be at least a subscriber to the Creative Cloud or something like at least the Photoshop plan. What background should we start with, guys? Let me know what you'd like to see. Are we going to be indoors or outdoors? We could try an indoor scene instead and see what that is like. Perhaps a busy bar on a Saturday night, or a church interior on a Sunday, or how about New York? I like it. How about a busy nightclub in New York on the top floor of a building in Manhattan? Times Square. Ah, dang, I got it wrong. A disco scene, but that's just you on a Saturday. Good point. It being Sunday and all. Studio 54. Amsterdam with the boats. That's good. Yes, we can do that. See what it says here. Also, does generating a 4K background take considerably longer than a 2K background? It doesn't really. When I said a busy nightclub in New York, it's hard to say if we're actually in a nightclub or not. What are the other options here? We're certainly not indoors, but it focused right in on the word New York. So this is kind of cool. So if we wanted to have a background in here, I think this would be nice if I say like all of this here. I don't want to take too much away, but maybe this. Fluffy white clouds. Or I should have maybe said a sky with fluffy white clouds. Yeah, maybe I should have said that. Ibiza, that we could do that. 4K, looks like 4K takes a little bit longer, but I haven't checked the resolution, so we can zoom in there in a second and see what... Yeah, I should have set a sky with white fluffy clouds. It's kind of nice. So, sky with fluffy white clouds. Let's try that instead. Yeah, we're not going to show you an interior. Maybe I'm going to specify an interior scene of a busy nightclub. Okay, that isn't going so well. That's better. But also sometimes I suppose you're going to have to, especially with these types of things, if you want to blend it in, clipping layer, and then just go make that a little bit darker, less contrasty. You can even dim down the opacity, blend it in. So it's, you know, it's not, I suppose it's not meant to be a one-click option, but everyone who uses Photoshop would know these types of tricks to go, hey, we can just make that look a little bit nicer, so before and after. So just, you know, blend it in a tad. Not bad. I think I'm gonna go and do another one here. I'm gonna go and do another one, maybe just to keep it nice, and we'll stick with 4K. A nightclub interior. Let's see. Keep it, you know, vague. Stavanger, Norway. Oh yeah, yeah. So cool. At least the sun set at one point. That is cool. I don't know if Stavanger is one of those parts of the country where you have a chance that the sun never sets. I don't know how high up it is. I'm not entirely sure about the ceiling and the gold painting thing. I might give this a thumb down. Maybe it's not great at generating backgrounds, and if you had your own backgrounds, you'd have better luck. A back alley behind a theater. How's that? With the stage door. Okay. I can imagine, Camilla. They have something like that in Alaska as well. Oh, now that looks nice. Yes, part of Alaska, I like that. Parts of Alaska, I like that. Hey, that is pretty cool. I want to try the thing with the sign. Like, if this was... If I'm thinking this thing is for rent. Let me see if I can put a for rent sign on here. Add a for rent sign. Not making any promises that this is how it works. Yes, wintertime exactly doesn't ever get really, really light. Almost, it doesn't quite read for rent, but it certainly did get the perspective quite right here. I didn't mean for that to be a question, it was a statement. Yes. Okay. I'll write my own for rent sign then. With an arrow pointing at the building. Obviously don't make the building, point at this building. The suspense. Yeah, almost, you know, for rent. Okay, good. It's friend. Yes, that's a good amalgamation of for and rent. I think maybe this is fine. I think I think it's all right. Perhaps I'm gonna go and put a no pedestrian sign here. sign post. I think so too. I think so too. It does remind me a little bit of the first time when I tried out Midjourney. We had lots of fun when things like that constantly came out, and it's only been what I feel is like 6 months or so. Yes, that's not bad. And those types of funny errors already no longer happen, or happen less and less. So it is kind of crazy how fast those things improve. This we must not forget. Two poodles walking into the distance. Let's see how that'll work. Yes, and it has the patience of an angel, and it just doesn't mind that it makes mistakes. It goes, yeah, almost. I mean, they're cute, aren't they? They're not walking off into the distance and don't look too closely at their faces and all. Ooh, now that is nice. I'll give this a thumbs up. I think that worked really well. Hey, that isn't bad. What should we... So maybe there's something... I'm thinking that maybe this lamppost here, that should perhaps go, because I think it's just ruining it for me, man. I'll make a copy and just use my remove tool. I don't know if I need to... rasterize that. That layer, maybe not. Remove tool. Yeah, no, I can't do that. Let me go. Can I rasterize it? I can't rasterize the layer. Dang. Why you no rasterize? Rasterize, there we go. Ding. Rasterize, and this can also go. And we just go and... If I had a bit of a steadier hand here. Also, this whole black box here, we don't want to see it. I mean, apart from small shadows here and there. See if it just goes and continues to, yeah, I'm okay with that. That's fine. What are we going to do on the right-hand side, on the left-hand side of the picture here? Something, just keeping in mind image composition a little bit. What could be here? I think there's something that's necessary here. Also here, a little bit of sky. I'm thinking we could probably do with here. Can we just fill this in with sky? Can you make a selection here? Yeah, there we go. That's nice. And add this perhaps on a new layer. Don't know if I need to make a new layer here. Add a blue sky with wispy white clouds. See if that's possible. Yes, it is very dangerous, isn't it? There we go, very nice. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. And if it's a bit too much, I can always go and just blend it in, make it lighter, make it darker. Sweetness. Let me go put the clipping layer on here, make it a bit darker, a bit like, you know, it blends in a little bit. Also, if I wanted to add a bit of a vibrance layer, also make it clipping. Crank up the vibrance, tiny bit of saturation, don't go overboard, but vibrance is kind of nice. Any suggestions for the left hand side here? A Viennese table with chairs. It just means, you know, I don't know, it's supposed to be a no pedestrians type thing. A VNS table here with umbrella. A VNS table with 2 chairs and an umbrella. Okay, let's see if we can make that happen. Kind of here. VNS. I don't even know what a VNS table is. I kind of guess what it is. Oh, we can't generatively fill. Maybe it's because we don't have a layer. Yes, there we go. So we do need a layer. That selection, that clipping layer, that didn't quite work. The Viennese. How do you spell that? Viennese, double N. Viennese. Viennese table with 2 chairs and a sun umbrella. I don't know how else to describe it. Like I'm thinking a little cafe type scene. Oh, Venetian, right. Wrought iron looking, hanging from the, yeah, that might be like a statue. Oh, wow. And it got the perspective kind of right. This is kind of what I was hoping it would come up with as well. Oh my God, really? I did like this, if only it didn't have the umbrella in there. But the chairs, my God. Let me try this again. And in fact, add, lasso tool is good. I mean, this whole area here, you know. Add cafe chairs and tables. That would be good. It even got the perspective right. So this is what I find really impressive, that it just kind of looks at the features and works out, well, this is what they would need to, this is what it would need. It's not bad. It's not bad, I gotta say. A bit large. And that kind of indoor table, that's not bad. That is not bad. That is not bad. Certainly not a masterpiece. Maybe we'll try something else. We'll try the statue, huh? Like cast iron statue of something, somebody. I wonder if it even recognizes if I do this and I select the outsides of the picture, if it knows I mean bleed it out somehow. A cast iron statue of Winston Churchill. Clearly we're in London, so yeah, you can try it out. Stable Diffusion is cool. I mean, it keeps improving all the time. And there's, oh my God, it's not Winston Churchill, but it certainly is a cast iron statue, isn't it? To fill in that void. You get a ton of stuff that hooks in to Stable Diffusion. And one of the things is that you can give it, John showed me this plugin, Fugazi. He was using it. You can give it, you can design like a character, figure comes out, and then you tell it, here's a DAS character in a particular pose, so just a gray character striking a pose, and you tell it, I want my character to look like that pose, and then that character that you've made will come out with that pose. That's kind of creepy, crazy. So he was playing around with it, he had lots of fun with it. And then if you combine that with something like Substance Painter, you can literally integrate it into your 3D scenes as, you know, as texture. So it's very, very cool. Yes, say his name loudly, Fugazi. Hey, that is pretty insane, isn't it? I gotta say, I'm already impressed. Anything else we want to do? Because I wanted to show you one other thing just before we I don't know where my bar's gone here. It's probably why it's a little weird. I wanted to show you something else. And the music in the background is kind of cool as well, so I'm going to go keep that on. And that has to do with the Quixel Bridge. I don't know how many of you have used the Quixel Mixer, or at least the Quixel Megascans asset that you get on the Epic Marketplace. They're just super awesome. So under Unreal Engine here, under Marketplace, the Quixel Megascans assets are things like nature scanned and all kinds of funky things scanned. So if you search for Quixel, they're probably going to come up. Quixel Megascans. They have assets on the store, but they also have a bridge that is integrated into Unreal Engine 5. And they kind of complement one another. Like these European trees, for example. This is an asset that you can load into Unreal Engine. But you can also get these things via the bridge, like, you know, trees and ground materials and all that. And so the bridge was designed, even though it's part of the Unreal Engine right now, it was designed as a standalone program and as a standalone asset library. And I've tried it out the other day and I was super impressed with what you can do with it. So it was designed for you to pick an asset or multiple assets and then go and send it over into a program of your choice, into a 3D app of your choice. And because Epic now own these guys, they've integrated it into Unreal Engine, but that is not the only thing that it can do. So it can go and send things to Blender, for example, and I've installed it and it works incredibly well. And I'll show you how it works. So Blender, or the target application, needs to be open for this to work, and then you launch the Quixel Bridge and you pick your asset and you click on it and it just goes and sends it over, which is just so cool. So let me go and try it with a food item here. So I'll just go and make everything, just the light and the camera, I think we can go and leave that here. So they have 2D assets, 3D assets, and I'm gonna look under 3D assets. Food, let's go try the donut because that's just so exciting. And this is not the mixer. The mixer is a bit like what you get in pork pie. Look at that, half pork pie, full pork pie, massive pork pie, grapes, scanned food items. So if you need to decorate your tables, you can totally do that. What is this? This is black bread. Oh, that's nice. The Photoshop is free, yes. I mean, Photoshop isn't free, but if you're a Creative Cloud subscriber or if you're a Photoshop subscriber, you can get the beta and download that for free. Yes, that doesn't cost you anything extra. And this bridge here is also free. I'll say a little bit more about the license in a moment. My God, half-eaten apple. This is great. What do we fancy? That is making me hungry. Bolete mushrooms, my goodness. I think I'm going to stick with the donut. So these are all scanned assets here. I think I've already downloaded the donut here. So you go and you click that, you pick the resolution that you need. So we have 4K and 2K. So I'm going to go and stick with the 4K donut here. And then you pick export, and then it'll go and export this to Blender. And that has something to do with what you've set up as your target application. But once you do that, donuts inside Blender. And the cool thing is that we're in the kind of in the preview view here, but if I go into the real rendered view, or into something like the preview shaded view, you get to see this with texture. So my lighting isn't great. Maybe this shows it a little better. And there's your donut. And so the cool thing is it literally has set this up. This is what the wireframe looks like. So it is a scanned asset, scanned and remeshed and cleaned up. So it looks awesome. The textures are great. Maybe we can go and see if we can put a little picture together here. Camera to view. Camera looks like that. That's not what we want. Here's my donut. Maybe we can even make a couple of donuts, something like that. I'll go and maybe add a plane to it. Oh, actually, I don't have to duplicate this. I could have just instanced this, I suppose. You can also use it as part of a replicator, of course. I could have used, what was it again? Control D instead of Shift D. I think Shift D is duplicate and Control D is instance. I think that's how it worked. Let me try that out. Control D, does anything work? No, so Shift D, could be Alt D. Alt D, yes, Alt D makes an instance. That's it, isn't it? Oh, you mean Stable Diffusion? Stable Diffusion, well, it's difficult because you get the model for free, but you have to have an account with some company thing. It was very difficult. It wasn't as easy as, you know, one-click solution type thing, sadly. And there was a lot of faff to get it working. But you know, there are tutorials on that sort of stuff out there. I think this is maybe a little, don't want to sink this into the ground or crunch it onto the other donut there. Alt D. And then we maybe rotate this guy around that way. And that might be kind of nice here. A little bit more room, perfect. So light-wise, if we were to go and do this in cycles with GPU, let's see what that looks like. And then we can play with it, play around with the light, and then, you know, assemble your scene with Quixel assets. And there's one other thing I wanted to show you in a second that has to do with assets that come with a displacement map. So in here we have geometry. I don't actually know if the donut has, metallic and also, what's it called here? Roughness. There we go. Roughness, make it less rough here. There we go. Sweet. And do we get good light? No, we have rubbish light. We have one light. Light is where? Light is, where are you, light? Light is here. Okay. I might just go and make my own light. I'll give it 2 point lights here because it's a small scene. 1 point light in here. Yeah, that's good. Come on, point light. Maybe one watt is probably enough. I think also maybe radius, we could make that a bit larger, makes it a bit softer here. Kind of depends how you work. If it's on a little macro scale here, Shift D, put another one up kind of here. And if we really wanted to, we can put another one back. Where's back? Where's back in this case? Was it the other way? Yeah, there we go. We've got a bit of a backlight there, so maybe little harsh here. And I could have used a master shader and all that, but you know, believable picture. Whoops. Believable picture of donuts, right? I'm thinking it's just awesome to do this. Let's go and how big's my scene? These 1920 by 1080. Let's go render it. All right, donuts, delicious donuts for everyone. Is that cool or what? I could also subdivide them, I suppose. I'm seeing a bit of a harsh geometry things here, so they look very low resolution. But if I go and put a little subdivision surface modifier on every donut, I think I may have to go and do this on both donuts because one is One is instanced, the other one isn't. Subdivision surface modifier. Does that work? Certainly looks better. I love it. I'm going to do the same thing here. Subdivision surface modifier. And now we can do and put sprinkles on this and do better icing and all that. Let me go make it 4K here to really crank it up. Say ×2. 1000 by 9, my favorite aspect ratio. 1000 by 9. Ay caramba, is the wrong button. Wasn't F12 in Blender? Really, F12, there we go. Yes, indeed. Let's put the sprinkles. But yeah, very cool. I didn't know you could do that, and that the bridge was just so cool. I mean, that's amazing. So the license for Quixel is that because it's an Epic company, all the content in the Quixel Megascans library are free to use if you're using them in Unreal Engine. So you don't have to pay anything if your target project is made with Unreal Engine. And I think by target project, they actually mean distributable 3D project. So if you had an interactive experience that you want to share with somebody and you package an Unreal Engine project and you share that with people. I think that is what they mean. I think if you render these things out in 2D, I'm not sure what the license is. I don't know, pass, I'm afraid. If you wanted to use the assets in different projects that you ship as a 3D thing, denoising pass. Why is it all gone, man? Bring back my donuts. There we go. Ah, very nice. Then it's 19 a month, so a bit like Substance Painter, to have access to the assets and then use them in a Blender project, ship the Blender project, or use them in a Unity project, ship the Unity project. So you can do that as well. That's cool. Yeah, look at that. I mean, you know, that is just as if I've just bought it at the bakery. And it's a one click to bring these things in. That is what I found so impressive. I gotta say, that is what I found so super impressive. I need to go and save this because Jay's Donuts. Also, if you were to do that, up here under external data, automatically pack resources. It makes your blend file a little bit larger, but you know that these donuts are saved rather than referenced in a temp directory. So very important. I'm going to go and put these two into a new collection here, donuts. Just in case we wanted to have anything else that we wanted to do. We've got half an hour or so that's kind of cool. In over 7 years. Ooh, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you. That is good. I don't think I've had Krispy Kreme donuts in a while either. I'm going to make a new project. I'm going to go delete the cube here. And I mean, we could send over other things like the pretzel here. What does a pretzel look like? Just out of curiosity. So I'll go click the download button on the bottom here. Pick a resolution. What's the 2K resolution? Let's try that. Download. Then it goes ahead and downloads it. Puts it into my temp directory here. And then I go and click the export button. And then that is when the export process begins. I think, was it here? Was it account settings? No, that wasn't where that was. Under edit, export settings. This is where you can set export download settings. Was that it? Nope, it was export settings. Sorry, export settings. I think this is where you say what target application would you like, and Unreal Engine of course is part of it here, but you have Houdini, Unity, Maya, 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, Clarisse, I didn't even know what that was, Marmoset, Mixer, that's their own Quixel mixer, and you can create your own bits and pieces. So if you wanted to have, if you have an application that you want this to be your asset library from, you can go and program an API. So somebody could go ahead and make a DAZ Studio bridge or DAZ Studio integration for the Quixel Bridge. Who knows if that already exists? That'd be kind of cool. And you send these assets to DAZ Studio and you see that's a cool idea, isn't it? So yeah, you can install multiple, and you can also register your own assets into this application. So if you have assets in OBJ format with PBR textures, you can go and register them, and then they become available in here, and you can go and send them to other applications. So very, very cool. That's what it's designed to do. So Pretzel, go and click export. And Pretzel goes and ends up in Blender, which is great. So maybe I'll go and use this. And yeah, very, very exciting stuff. So 2K, I guess the resolution of the model is the same. It looks very similar to the donut, but I think the resolution of the maps is different. So they set up, that's the other cool thing, they set up the whole shader for you here. At no extra cost, so things get plugged in where they need to be. And this is kind of where it gets interesting if you want to use something with the displacement map. So that doesn't happen by default. You have to have a little bit of setup work going on in Blender. So let's go and have a quick look how to do this. I'll go and make myself a plane. And this could be something like a road or like a landscape or something like that. So if I go back and find just a material, so these were all 3D assets that I've looked at here, but oops, if I go and use metahumans, if I use, man, anything like a 2D landscape, a material, I thought they had materials here. Somewheres. New surfaces, well that's good. Here, forest floor, or this one here, soil ground, or maybe like a brick wall. Let's do that. Brick wall, something like that. The search function is really cool. It splits it up into brick and wall, and if you then want something like a particular color, you can go and type that in as well. So if you want to have a brick wall that's brown, then it goes and adds that and just filters the assets until you found something that's cool. Like this one here, damaged brick wall plaster. That looks cool. Let's use that. So this is just a set of maps essentially, and I'm going to use maybe 4K resolution. Or should we use 8K? 4K is probably enough. We go download, and then I'll go and send this over, and then I'll show you how to apply this to a regular plain object. I'll hit export, and because there's no 3D object attached, we'll only get a material there. Something else that's quite cool, up here you have these different, you can preview your texture map, so you can make this full screen to really preview what this thing is going to look like, but you can go and preview your texture maps. So this one's the albedo or the diffuse, this one's the AO, this one's the displacement, this one's the normal. So yeah, they really show you what the asset actually looks like before you go and send it over. It's very cool. And in the 3D view, you get to experience it on an object, and then you can look at it from all sides. So you can see it clearly has displacement, and it looks very cool. So all that from within the bridge, I think that's just really, really funky. So back in Blender then, we have nothing on our plane, so we need to go and switch to the materials and then just go and pick that material. So we've got the pretzel material still. That's probably not what we want to see on the plane, but it is nevertheless still in here. Pretzel, not what we want, but we can go and pick the damaged brick wall, and it doesn't exactly look great right now, even in the Eevee rendered version here. I think by default we're on Eevee. Yeah, so it doesn't look exactly like it does in the in my other project. That's partly because displacement isn't here. So under shading, so we get a better preview of this here as well. So the material is set up. Normal map is in here. The albedo is in here. And the roughness is also plugged in, but we don't have a displacement channel plugged in. And it looks like the displacement map didn't come over. And that is because Eevee and also by default Cycles can't actually display that. So we need to, first of all, render this in Eevee, in Cycles, but we also need to tell cycles to use the experimental feature set here. And if you switch that over, then on our plane object here, we can go and add a subdivision surface modifier and enable adaptive subdivision. So if we don't do that, if we pick the regular supported cycles feature set on here, we don't get that option, and it is necessary for the displacement to get rendered, I suppose, if I understand that correctly. So now I can go adaptive subdivision. It's kind of what game engines use on landscapes. When you go and zoom in, they subdivide the landscape so that it creates more geometry, and then when you zoom out, the geometry goes away and it is more lighter. It's kind of lighter to render. I'm just going to go and head over to edit mode and subdivide this a few times, like my 50 is probably enough. There we go. So that just gives us an initial amount of additional geometry, but we don't have the subdivision in yet. So I don't know if it's enough to send the material over again. It could be. It could be that it updates it, or if I need to go and just do this in another scene. I haven't quite worked that out yet. No, I can see it's already working. So that's... It looks like that is working. So you can see the displacement at work here already, and this is in the rendered view. If we had better lighting, which perhaps I can provide, perhaps light, where art thou? So maybe make it a spotlight. We can then go and rotate so that we have a harsh kind of... You can see the shadows here. There we go. That's definitely got displacement on it. And you can see in the shading now that... Hello? There we go. That the shaders just got a little bit more complicated, but the bridge has set it all up. So that's kind of nice. You don't have to get involved in this. It's like literally one-click goodness coming in here. This is how they do the displacement. So you have the displacement map here that gets separated, and then the R channel, I don't know why, only the R channel goes into the displacement channel. Can't tell you why they don't use R, G and B for that. That's just how it works. I don't know. I just work here. I don't even work here. So very cool, and you can imagine the amount of cool things you can make with that. I think you can also increase that. That's back on the shading tab, isn't it? If I go to the real rendered view here. Scale, I suppose I could put that 0.5, and yep, there we go. It goes insane now. So it's more. Very cool. Is that cool? Madness, how's it going? Good to see you. Yeah, Megascans are seriously cool. I mean, the thing, we do have a little bit of time. Maybe I'll show you that as well. Why I'm just so in love with them. I might have to stop the game for that, even though it provided us with a really nice soundtrack. Madness, this is what we've made in Photoshop here. Very cool stuff. Do we have? I don't know where my taskbar is here. Taskbar's gone. I don't know where it's gone. Gotta look at that later. It just kind of went away. Toolbars, is that? No. Yeah, taskbar's gone. Don't know where that is. Let me go and switch off the game here so that we have a little bit more processing power. When I go and show you the how cool the trees, the Megascans trees work in Unreal Engine. That is just absolutely funky. Because they have this thing that I also didn't quite know about until this week. They have a thing in which you can play with the... Oh, there we go, it's crashed. That kind of does us a favor-ish. UE4 Submerged game has crashed and will close. Go close then. Not closing without a fight, I guess. Yeah, so these trees that they've started scanning, they come in different variations. So apparently you have two versions in general, one that are kind of more high quality and another one that is good for more mobile games and low-end systems. But then, so those types of groups, they have two types of trees. They have one that is as if it had grown standalone, and then they have another that's as if it had been fighting for nutrients inside a forest. So very nice version. This we don't need anymore either. That's also cool. We can say yes to that. That's all good. And we have, do we not? Let me bring some music back, because, you know, we want it all cozy and chillaxed here, perhaps with a bit of happy jazz. Happy jazz is always good. Goody. And that, I don't think we need that anymore either. Okay, so Epic the Launcher, which is also kind of crashed, so uncool. Yes, so Epic Megascans trees in Unreal Engine projects. And so they haven't just set up the trees for that, they've also got all kinds of control. So you can, I think you can tell them, if ever this comes back. I might go and close the bridge in Blender. I think maybe something's not quite right here on my system. Epic Launcher, come back to me, buddy. Including Photoshop. I think also Photoshop has a bit of a problem. Maybe that beta is kind of creeping out on me here. End task. End all the goodness. I think the Epic Launcher just doesn't want to open. But if you do get a chance of looking at it, it's kind of trying. If you do get a chance, look into it, because they have a wind controller that lets you adjust proper wind. So it's not just a material effect. It's you know, they do other good stuff there. There is a way to remove all the leaves from the trees. There's a way to make the trees, turn them from green to kind of brown as it gets more autumny type. Yeah, I think that isn't working, is it? Epic Launcher doesn't want to launch anymore. I've destroyed him. What a shame. See if I can stop him. If I have to reboot my computer, we might just leave that until, you know, another time. Epic Launcher isn't even in here anymore. There it is. Epic Launcher, end task. There. I'm currently working with a single GPU Yoshi. There we go. He's back. He's back, everyone. Yeah, one GPU. It's a 3090, and I have two CPUs here. My Xeon E5 2370, and I have 128 gigabytes of RAM, which is great. So I'm going to go and use Unreal Engine 5.1. Because it's a little bit more performant. Right, exactly, Vince Garibaldi type thing, exactly. Yeah, these are beautiful, these trees. And I think they make them available as Unreal Engine projects because they have so much other stuff, but eventually they'll also come to the bridge, so then you can use them with Blender and Maya and all that kind of stuff. Yes, absolutely. You're not jealous at all. I gotta say though, this PC probably cost me half of what a new PC would cost. So it's a kind of a workstation thing, and gamers don't really like it because... Should we make a third-person game with starter content? And I think maybe I'll make it scalable here. I'll just call it tree testing. So it's one of those PCs that would cost you like 5 or 8 grand if you buy it new. But if you wait a couple of years and then buy it used, companies just want to get rid of them basically because they upgrade to the latest system, and that is how I got mine for I think $500-600 just for the workstation, and then you source CPUs from yesteryear for $50 each, and get some heat sinks and just get some really cheap server RAM, and then all of a sudden you can afford something like that, and it's just wonderful. Oh, very nice. Alrighty, so let's use the bridge from directly inside Unreal Engine. So this is where that is here. I think here Quixel Bridge comes as a tab essentially inside Unreal Engine. That's kind of cool, and that lets you now go and bring in single objects into Unreal Engine just like we had. Just like we had in Blender, so I can use the same donut here. Use high quality, download it, and then literally just go click plus, and then it appears inside Unreal Engine and in my project. So that's very, very cool. So that's a single asset. Opens this up here. Left click and drag donut into here. Whoa, no, that's the material, isn't it, dummy? That's not what I wanted to do. It's this is the static mesh. That goes in here. Here he is. Woohoo, donut. Whoops. Donut is a bit small, so oh, come on. Let's get my adjustment speed right here. It's a shame that this no longer works with the scroll wheel like it did yesterday. Duh. May I ask what's changed? Donut. Hey, donut, perfect. All right, clipping distance. So anyway, donut, right? That's awesome. But I wanted to show you the trees. So the trees are they're projects, and as such we don't use the bridge. As such we use the launcher again under library if you've downloaded them or find them on the marketplace. As soon as this super clunky piece of software comes back alive, I can also scroll down. Oh, you're using you used to use a Dell? Yeah, MSI are nice. They can be nice. I mean, it's all about. I can't really move this currently. I don't know why. Oh, is it my scroll wheel actually? Oh, it's the scroll wheel of my mouse. That is what's the problem, isn't it? Yes. Switch on and off. Switch off the mouse, and all of a sudden, happiness comes back. There we go. Vault. Megascans. European trees. European. They all just say European. I don't know what the actual project name is. These trees look nice though. 8 gigabytes, right? That's good. Let's add that to our project tree testing. Let's see what that's like. Do I need to download this or do I have it? No, I have it, so it just copies it over. Yeah, with laptops, it always really depends on your budget, what you're doing with it, and how long you want it to last. I think there are really good laptops for $1,000 out there, even cheaper than that. But if you buy those, you stand a chance that in 2 years you want another laptop that's better. So if you buy one for like $2,000 to $3,000 even, then you have a chance that in 5 years' time you can still use it. Because you probably, if you want to do 3D work on it, you probably want to have one of the higher end 30 cards right now, like 3080 I would probably do that. Let's go make a new level here. Basic level. We can save that. That's okay. Save this level. Save current level as J's trees. And I think we also need a ground texture. I think for this I can use Megascans, unless we have one. No, we only have the donut. Okay, so let's go and bring in a ground texture here. Might even use forest floor here, since that's what we want to do. High quality, that sounds good. Yes, and plenty of RAM. So that's another thing. Often when you buy a laptop, the RAM is not upgradable. So 8 gigabytes, forget about it. 16 minimum. If you can do 32 or 64 on a laptop, do it. It's worth it. It's absolutely worth it. This is the texture. This is the material instance. That's probably what we want to put. Not even on the floor, actually. We probably want to use a landscape, don't we? Let's go get rid of the floor. Let's go make a landscape. And just create one. That's all we want to do. We don't want to... We could sculpt things out, make it a bit more interesting here. We have little mountains in the background here. If we wanted to do that. We don't have to. We could though. While we're here, why don't we? So if this is like our background here, that's, you know. Because I have a feeling that the amount of processing power we're going to need over the coming years, that's going to go more rather than less. I'll just apply this ground texture on the landscape. At least that was the plan. If see if maybe Unreal Engine had other plans. Landscape material. This goes on here. Ding. Yes, exactly. Exactly. You want to make sure if it is soldered onto the motherboard, you want to make sure they solder on as much as possible for you. I'm thinking. And then I suppose the scale here on the material instance, that could be that. We're going to leave that alone. That's fine. I think the only thing I want to do is add a post-process volume, because it's just so that we can switch off the automatic exposure control here. It's manual, and then we do like, I don't know, 11 maybe. There. So when we have trees, it's gonna be groovy. So Megascans, 3D assets. I think that's it. No, that's the donut. Black alder. That's it exactly. So foliage, pivot painter, foliage objects. I think, can we go and paint them? Can we drag them in individually? No, we can't do that. We need to go into foliage painting mode, I think. Oh, no, hang on. It does something. It does something. Still working on stuff. The picture, good point. It is, I think it says South Beach. Let me see if I can find myself here. There we go. It says South Beach here, but it has the American flag. So I thought, it's kind of good for Memorial Day. Bought at our local CVS store, I believe. It is, isn't it? I'm glad you like it, Yoshi. I'm glad you like it. Could I put a tree in here? No. Could I buffalo? Let's go into the foliage painting mode. I think that's how that works. I can go and pick up some trees. So these are the ones that grow standalone. sorry, these are the ones that grow standalone, and these are the ones that grow as part of a forest. So I might go and take all of these variations, drop foliage into here, and then I'll go and select them. And then I think I can go and, if I give Unreal Engine a second, still working on stuff. At the moment it's done doing that, I think I can go and paint my trees out. Yes, there we go. And they may be a little bit dense here. It's not quite the forest that I had in mind. Yeah, that's a tiny bit dense, isn't it? So paint density, maybe I'll make that 0.1 instead. And I'll go and erase stuff. Yeah, I think my trackball needs charging. I think he's not quite happy about the mouse wheel keeps drifting in and out of consciousness. That's never good. So let me erase that. So I'll go and no, that's still too dense. There we go, less dense. To make a forest. I could do this procedurally as well. There. Beautiful trees. They're already a little bit randomized in regards to the size here. So I do like that. That's cool. Okay, that's gonna be our forest here. I like it. I like it. Got the forest. We've got the forest ground, and now we can see that I think a little bit of wind is already happening here. So we got wafty trees. That is cool, and they are also optimized for with I think 8 or so levels of detail. So can we go and visualize that somehow? Show. I'm not sure if they're nanite capable already. LOD's auto fix. I thought visualizers for LOD. There we go. That's the landscape that we're seeing visualized. We don't. Oh no, actually, do we? We just see the landscape LODs. We don't see the tree LODs. So they might well be nanite. I don't actually know. Since it's a fairly new project. Yeah, no, that's just the visualize. I can't find it. It's okay, we'll leave it like that. Light, let me go and do the light, Control G. At least that's what it was last time I checked. Was it Control L actually? There we go. And then just so that we can see the wind effect a little bit better on the trees, because they have this object in here that is called, don't ask me where that is. It's in here somewhere. Imposter pixel texture. BP underscore something. This one here, the global foliage actor, that's the one. So it could even be, oh, that's an MS presets, gotcha. So we just drag that into our scene here. And it's just an object with a little bit of, visualization in here. And if I select it, it can go and show me what the wind preview is gonna is going to look like. So the windsock and all that, that is pretty accurate. And this little graphic just shows me what the wind does. So like wind noise, if I go and crank that up to 10, does anything happen? To 0 maybe? Nothing happens. Why not? Do I have to simulate this? Might have to simulate this. Does this work? No, behaves exactly the same. Why? I didn't think you had to simulate this. 20? Oh, I can see something happening on the trees. So they waft more now than with this. That's cool. Wind strength. Certainly waftier. And what I like about this effect is that it's not done on the material. So they move more like actual trees. So sometimes in video games you see this super fake foliage, and that's done with a cheap material effect. But this looks pretty convincing here. Wind speed, how about cranking that up? Oh, that looks not so good. Wind timing, maybe 10 is a little bit uncool. Flip wind direction, oh, interesting. So wind noise, crank wind noise up and crank wind speed up. No, not wind speed, the wind strength. Got those stormy trees. Pretty sweet, huh? And I didn't know of the existence of the global foliage actor. So apparently it's in MS presets. And I suppose those are the Megascans presets. So yeah, BP foliage materials. They've got all kinds of bits and pieces, all kinds of goodies in here. But yes, foliage actor. If you search for that, or rather BP with all selected, BP global foliage actor. That's the little thing that makes that possible. But then there's also, so this has other properties like the if we stick with the wind for now, season and health. So season strength is something I think from 0 to 10. You can actually you can crank that up even higher. Is it 360? Yeah, 360. So that turns the leaves brown. But apparently if you look at one close, you can see that they turn brown in different places, you know. So it's kind of nice to see the trees just change seasons that way. And then from afar, it just looks like autumn is coming a little bit. So this makes them greener again. 0 is full green, and then eventually we go. Then we get full brown. I don't know what the limit is here, but yeah, quite nice. Make him a little bit autumny. Season brightness. I think this is also something you can play with. Make them more or less translucent, I think. Saturation, something similar if you want to have stylized trees. So like here, if we have them, oh, whoops. Make them lighter. And also saturate. If we really want to drive that autumn feeling home. Very cool, but it's the same tree. I don't know if you can animate those parameters, but that'd be kind of cool, wouldn't it? There is a parameter apparently where you can switch off the leaves altogether. But you know, don't ask me where that is. Be good to just have a small, slow animation through a forest like this, and then just see all these leaves. Beautiful, isn't it? Hey, Commander, how's it going? Good to see you, buddy. Good to see you. the latest project. You know, you can actually follow the Commander's project along on YouTube fairly recently, fairly regularly actually. Yeah, always good to see you. Do you know, Yoshi, food always beats hardware, doesn't it? I gotta say, very important. Variation tiling, macro variation tiling, crazy stuff. Overall color variation amount. Hey, that is nice. 0 means they all look the same, maybe? Async physics tick enable. I don't even know what that means. There's good stuff in here, I gotta tell you. I think more good stuff is on the material instance if you were to open that and have a look on it. I'm not going to do that yet, but I don't want to bore you to death. It's just that these Megascans assets, these trees, they have a lot. They have a lot to offer, not just here, but also in Blender. Commander, I was just saying earlier that you can use the Quixel Bridge to send Megascans assets over to Blender. It's very cool. I mean, anything you need to build in Blender, you can go and, you know, you can make that happen. I wonder if we have some kind of a ground material here. Or like a ground landscape. Broadleaf forest, I'm sure they have good little grass bits and pieces in here that we could paint that in as well, but I'm gonna leave that for another day. Right, and a full day, right? And now it does it all in real time, and you can just, you know, run it around, and if we needed more foliage, we just go and click on here and we just go cut edit foliage while simulating. Good point. Let's go stop simulating, and then we just go and put more trees, and we just, you know, we're still rendering. Isn't that cool? That is just, I remember that trees, like the things that we get with from Howie's sets here, the ultra scenery, kills that studio, literally kills it. You just go and put a few instances on there and you're basically like back in the Bryce days. It's so true. The forest for the trees, I totally remember that. Yeah, Unreal Engine, fun toy to play with. Fun toy to play with. Fun toy to play with. Guys, I'm gonna go and sign off. Thank you so much for dropping by. I don't know if I'm gonna do another stream tomorrow. I might do that. It's been quite nice hanging out. I don't know if I need to do some 3D bits and pieces, maybe more Unreal Engine stuff. So we could try to do this with trees like this and do it procedurally. So basically just spread all that across the landscape without having to paint it in. And also maybe, you know, paint something like a path. That is something that I need a bit of practice with. So no promises, but I might be back tomorrow. If you have a 3-day weekend, it's kind of cool to hang out. So if you are around and up for it, then I might be as well. Have a wonderful rest of Sunday. If you have to go to work tomorrow, then, you know, I'm sorry about that. But if you have a 3-day weekend like we do have here in the US, then make the most of it. Have fun, and I'll see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.